It's a beautiful Friday evening at the corner of 20th and Blake as we get set for Rockies baseball tonight. They open a three-game series against the San Diego Padres. The Rockies looking for a win, trying to get back on track after losing the series to the Mets earlier in the week. Jorge De La Rosa will be on the hill for Colorado. 4-1 record so far this season. His one loss coming against San Francisco in a game he got 0 run support. In fact, the Rockies were blanked in that game 3-0, but he has certainly looked like the ace of this staff, and the numbers go along with it. Lowest batting average against through the first 7 starts of the season all time. Jorge De La Rosa now third behind Denny Stark and Ubaldo Jimenez, who of course had a tremendous 2010 season. Welcome inside Coors Field as we get set for Rockies baseball. Right now it's time to turn things over to Drew and Jeff as we get ready for the first pitch. Guys?
Hey, Tom, thanks very much. 197 is a very impressive opponent batting average. Forget about it if you're a lefty. They have 3 hits against them all year long. Naturally, the Padres will load up on right-handed bats. Jorge right now is the right man to have on the hill tonight.
Well, he's really the ace of this staff. You just break down all his numbers. The 197, that's 5th best in the National League. But every time he goes out there, he's going to give you 3 earned runs or less. I mean, that's just the way he works now. That fastball, he has command of that, the split finger, the hard slider. And more importantly, I think he has control of his emotions now. He really knows when, hey, I need to back off just for a second. Things are starting to spiral a little bit. Let me slow it down. He's figured that out.
You know, he walked 4 of his first 6 in his last start, and Jim Tracy made a great point to your observation. He said, you know, a few years ago, we would have had to go get him in the 2nd inning. There was no way he would have gotten out of the 2nd inning.
No more, though, because he's growing up. He understands that for him to be a successful pitcher, a guy to stay out there for 6, 7, 8 innings, he needs to be able to shut down innings. Sometimes when he's made the trouble himself, he's been able to do that.
So De La Rosa will have the baseball tonight, opening up this 3-game set with the Padres. When we come back, we'll talk about a roster move the Rockies made earlier this afternoon. On the disabled list of late with a oblique strain, very common injury among major league players the last decade or so. Ty Wigginton back in the fold, though, reinstated after playing a doubleheader for Colorado Springs. He was hitting .233, was really coming on before the injury. Ian Stewart was sent back down to AAA. You know his struggles this year have continued even since his return from AAA, so he'll go back to Colorado Springs. And Jim Tracy addressed the Ian Stewart situation earlier.
We are searching for offense, and he is struggling mightily right now offensively. And for Ian Stewart to be a part-time player is not going to work.
Basically, Ian Stewart's going to go down to Colorado Springs, and it may be a while because they are going to make sure he is right.
And make sure that he's able to handle that inside fastball. And that's the one that's given him so much trouble, to see if he can make the adjustment and get a number of at-bats, not just 20, 30. I mean, it could be 150, 200 at-bats down there. You never know. He will determine when he comes back next.
That's a great way of putting it. Ty Wigginton will be in there. Most days he'll be at third base. As we mentioned earlier, he was coming on offensively. The Rockies need production from third base. Colorado and San Diego, game one of this three-game set. Come on back to 20th and Blake with us. Minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Ford Explorer, 2011 North American Truck of the Year. Ford Explorer, drive one. By the new Quest 5-year price lock promise. Visit quest.com/promise for details. And by Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards unlimited reward seats at no blackout dates. It is a pretty night at Coors Field. The rain has gone. 3 days of rain pretty much, and it has moved out, and it is a beautiful night for baseball. Big crowd expected. That's a good look at Kristen Orfia, who's swinging the bat well. He'll be in the leadoff spot. He's at .370 in 23 games. He'll be followed by the former Tampa Bay Ray, Jason Bartlett, hitting .256 in his new uniform. Jorge Cantu also has been in Florida. Chase Headley will bat cleanup. Cameron Maben, who was with the Florida Marlins most recently, hitting .252 in center field. Ryan Ludwig, the former Cardinal. Rob Johnson, Alberto Gonzalez, and Dustin Mosley, the pitcher. And Jorge De La Rosa, 3-2 lifetime against the Padres, but last year he pitched very well against San Diego.
And he's going to face a lineup tonight that, other than Chase Headley, who's a switch hitter, is all right-handed because of that 197 average against, with lefties only hitting 107, just 3 hits. Right-handers not much better at 217. But one thing Jorge has been able to figure out is how to pitch here at Coors Field. Since 2010, he's 8-3.
Well, the Padres got in Wednesday evening, so they've been here for 36 hours, really 48 hours. They're well rested, and the Padres on Monday as a club, they were hitting .214 for Bud Black. Well, they had 13 hits Tuesday and 23 hits, one off the all-time single game high for San Diego on Wednesdays. They scored 13 runs, so 36 hits on Tuesday and Wednesday raised their cumulative batting average 16 points.
That's pretty tough to do, even if it's early in the season, but it's still May, and they've played 37 ball games now.
So Denorfia is gone, and Jason Bartlett will step up. New double play combination this year. It's Bartlett at short and Orlando Hudson at second. Now, you didn't see Hudson's name in the lineup because he's still on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. He's with the club. He's going to go out on Sunday and start playing a couple ball games, rehab games at AAA. Visited with him briefly. He says the hamstring really feels pretty good. So
he was giddy about it, wasn't he?
Well, he's always pretty giddy.
Well, I know, but to be able to think that your legs are back underneath you and you feel good when you go out there and run, for a guy that has 10 stolen bases on the season,
yeah,
it just makes that smile even bigger.
Yeah, he's never had a bad day at the ballpark. One of the most upbeat guys in baseball, Orlando Hudson. Here's the 1-1, and that misses. 2 balls and a strike. 62 degrees, our game time temperature. About twice as warm as it was yesterday.
And no rain.
Talking to some folks, we saw Dave Veers, former Rocky.
Mike Myers,
visiting with them before the ball game. They got like 8 inches of snow down in the Castle Rock area. Swung on a miss, 2-2. In fact, Veers said, I cut the lawn on Monday and shoveled the driveway on Wednesday.
That's what I love about Colorado,
yeah.
though.
What's the old line? You can get all 4 seasons in one afternoon.
I was just saying 5 minutes.
Yeah. Two and 2 on Jason Bartlett. 1 out in the first inning. And this is chopped foul. Bartlett hitting .344 out on the road, .164 at home. And that's kind of been the San Diego trend. You know, they're tough at Petco, right? Not this year. They're struggling at home. They've been a much better team out on the road and a much better team offensively out on the road.
That's part of the reason they're 7-14 at home and 8-8 out on the road.
2-2, swung on and missed. That gorgeous changeup. One of the best in baseball. Jorge De La Rosa with his first punch out of the evening.
Well, the thing for the changeup, he can throw it a couple different ways. He can split the fingers a little bit, or he can go the circle change. But either way, the ball ends up going down and you get the awkward swings from righties or lefties.
So Jorge Cantu, wide open stance. That pitch misses. It's 1-0. Rockies defensively will have Cargo in left. Ryan Spilborgh's again in center field. Dexter Fowler's close. In fact, if he's in the starting lineup tomorrow, that would not be a surprise. Seth Smith in right. Wigginton at third. Tulowitzki, Herrera, Helton, and Iannetta. Here's the 1-0. And on the corner for a strike. One of the top ball strike umpires in the game. Back there tonight, Jeff, Dan Iasanya.
Very solid. Grades out among one of the top ones every year.
And the 1-1 to Cantu. And that's lined to center field. It'll be a base hit. So that'll get Chase Headley, Colorado Springs native, to the plate. It's still strange looking up and down that Padre lineup and you're searching for Adrian Gonzalez. He's in Boston. Well, actually, he's in New York right now. not the Red Sox taking on the Yankees, but playing for Boston.
He'd been such a fixture with that organization after being traded from the Rangers.
This is popped up and playable down the right field line for Seth Smith. One pitch, and Headley is gone. Pretty nice inning for De La Rosa to begin. We'll see the Rockies bats against Dustin Mosley when we come back. Not playing yesterday and today, nursing that slight knee injury, that bruise from fouling a pitch off his leg a couple of days ago. It'll be Smith leading off. Johnny Herrera, Mr. Big Fly, he'll be in the 2-hole. Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki, Todd Helton next. Wigginton will bat 6th. Ryan Spilborghs, Chris Iannetta, and Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies lost 9-5 yesterday. They walked 9 batters in that ball game. As you look at the numbers for Dustin Mosley, forget the record. This guy's pitched very, very well.
Just not a lot of run support. That's the problem. San Diego is averaging only 1 run in 5 of his 7 starts this year. Not walking many guys. He just knows how to pitch because he's not overpowering.
Well, Huey, how about this? As he misses ball 1. In his first 3 starts, the Padres did not score.
Yeah, and that's why he's got the lowest run support in the major leagues.
And he just gave up a solid single to center field. That's a good start for the Rockies. Smith reaches. Let's look at the worst run support in the National League. And this is not a category a pitcher wants to be on top of, but Mosley's there. Just a run of games. You know, you give one up and you're like, oh boy. I mean, they were shut out the first 3 games. It happened to Kenny Rogers in 2008 when he was with Detroit. The Tigers in his first 3 starts were shut out in all 3 games. The last time it happened prior to that, 1972. Remember the left-hander Rudy May?
Yes, Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, he pitched for a bunch of clubs. And Rudy May's first 3 starts in 72, all shutouts against.
And those numbers right there, we said it in the National League, but that's overall, too, in the major leagues. 1.03 runs. Think about all the guys that have taken to the mound this year in games that have been pitched. Fastball that's going to sit right about 89, 90 miles an hour. Will cut it. Overhand curveball, changeup, and an occasional slider.
Show you an interesting graphic also because he's working against a guy that has the converse going on. Jorge De La Rosa has had outstanding run support this year, 6.5 runs a game, which is second in the National League to Kyle McClellan, who's getting better than 7 runs a game.
And Jaime Garcia's off to a 5-0 start.
Well, Cardinals have really torn the cover off the ball. That's a strike, 2-1.
Well, really, after Matt came back from the surgery,
appendectomy, yeah,
that they've been very good.
Leading all of baseball in team batting average.
We're winning again tonight, 3-0 in the 6th.
And by the way, speaking of, Huey mentioned that ball game earlier today, the Cubs beat up the Giants at Wrigley 11-4. So if the Rockies win tonight, they'll go back into a first-place tie with the Giants.
Don't think the guys they've already seen that. They know what's going on.
There goes Smith. Hit and run is on. And Johnny got a piece of it. 2-2.
Boy, that hole was really open between the bag at second base and third base. Bartlett had just started to go right over towards second. There was all kinds of room. But that curveball is tough to stay back and hit it that way.
Inside 3-2. So you and I walk in the clubhouse this afternoon, and what does Johnny say to us?
He
goes,
stopped
hey,
us. He stopped us.
Exactly. He had to tell us he hit a home run in batting practice today.
Right-handed, about the same place he hit the ball yesterday.
First home run in batting practice in 2 years.
Well, set to take off now.
And this is fouled off.
That was funny, though, just to see his reaction. I mean, yesterday he hit the ball very, very well to left field. But today he was just almost as happy about the home run he hit in batting practice to tell us, because he said it was just like yesterday's. I've got the stroke down. I know what it feels like.
He was more fired up about that one.
Mm-hmm. I'll be interested to see if maybe San Diego flip-flops who covers out at second base with 2 attempts by Jonathan to try to hit the ball to left field, if they maybe have the second baseman cover.
He was still shortstop. It's ball 4. And the Rockies have their first 2 on for Carlos Gonzalez. Take a look at the Padres defensively. Brian Ludwig in left, Cameron Maven, who covers a lot of ground in center. Chris Denorfia is in right. Denorfia can play center field, but he runs well. Headley, Bartlett, Gonzalez, and Cantu. Bartlett's a good fielder at short. Rob Johnson behind the plate. Pitch in there for a strike. Breaking ball. Mosley's a contact guy. They're trying to get ground balls.
Well, he only has 19 strikeouts in 43 innings, so he has to be a contact guy. Doesn't walk many guys. He's one of the leaders in double plays because there's a lot of traffic out there.
And that's called a strike. A couple of off-speed pitches. Backed up the curveball with a changeup. So Gonzalez in an 0-2 hole. You know, the ratio's not great. The walk's a good number with 43 innings. Smith singled. He's at second. Herrera just walked. Set up away. It misses.
But that's really Dustin Mosley's MO. Shape the corners. Don't throw anything down the middle. Even the outer third or inner third, he's got to be even more fine than that.
Mosley in the Yankee organization last year, up and down between AAA.
Bud Black knew about him back with his days as pitching coach for the Angels. Mosley was a pitcher in their system, and that's how, when Mosley became available as a non-tender from the Yankees, Bud Black said, we need to sign this guy. He's got pitchability. I like him. I've had him before. I understand what he has.
What did he tell us? He said he has a good pitcher's mind.
Well, that just tells you that he doesn't have overpowering stuff. He knows how to add some and subtract some.
Now Cargo back in the count. 2-2. Good athletes on base, not necessarily flyers. 3-2. You know, if you look at the Rockies, the composition of their position players, the only guy you'd say can fly is Dexter.
Yeah, but he's better underway.
He's better underway. He's not
the base
quick
stealer
at it.
yet.
Yeah.
You put him in motion, I would. They're going to pitch him away. Just make contact, stay out of the double play.
They're not going, and it's a ground ball to first. And Cargo beat the return throw. So Gonzalez now 3 for his last 26 at the plate. He continues to roll over with great regularity out in front. So it's first and third for Troy Tulowitzki. Who wants tacos? When the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies tacos special. Only at Taco Bell.
We need some tacos. It's been a while.
It has been a long while. Troy struggling with runners in scoring position, just 179. There goes Gonzalez. He got a huge jump, no throw. Cargo has his 5th back.
He's not been caught yet.
You know, sometimes talk about players offensively at the plate, ambushing a guy, swinging at that first, maybe get ahead fastball. For me, that's exactly what Cargo did there. He ambushed Mosley, went on the first pitch.
Because he figured he's not going to throw him a first pitch fastball. It's trying to get me over curveball that bounced, and he was smart about it.
And a line shot, base hit. Gonzalez had to wait a moment. He's still going to get a green light. The throw by Magan will be cut off, and it's a 2-run single for Tulowitzki. And boy, that's great to see the Rockies break on top early and do it by putting some hits together. Troy with RBIs 20 and 21.
The other thing I like about it too is he hit it right back up the middle. It wasn't a pull into the hole. Those are fine too, but that was a ball that was middle and down, and he stayed with it, stayed right to the center of the field. Even though Carlos had to hold to make sure it got by the pitcher, still had the wheels to beat Maben's throw in.
On the outside corner, a strike to help. This is Mosley's first appearance against the Rockies. There's no history. One and one on help.
But they saw plenty of film on him in the locker room today. Every time we're in there, Brian Jones is running video of that pitcher, and they're on all the TVs, so you get a feel of where that arm action's coming from.
There goes Tulowitzki, and the throw to second is not in time. So the Rockies taking a page perhaps out of the Padres playbook. Padres run a ton. Troy just picked off his 3rd stolen base. And the Rockies 2 for 2 here in the opening frame.
Be smart about it. Understand the pitcher going home, a little bit of a higher leg kick. Rob Johnson's only thrown out 3 of 14 base runners, now 3 of 15 base runners on the season. He was able to slide in onto that backside pretty easy.
On the corner, it's 2-2. Todd didn't like it. Hilton hitting .333 in the month of May, a home run and 6 RBIs. Rockies hit 6 home runs against the Mets. They lost 2 out of 3. Every one of the home runs was a solo job. And Todd turns and hits that foul. And you know what? We were talking in the open, Huey, about Ian Stewart, and Jim Tracy was talking about having him cover the inside portion of the plate, something he has struggled to do, and so pitchers keep wearing him out in there. And you made a great point. You said, you know, turn and hammer one foul.
Just rip it foul inside, because now in the pitcher's mind and the catcher's mind saying, okay, he can handle that ball inside. Let's try to get him away. But you're actually pitching to the hitter's strength, which is away in Ian Stewart's case. So wrap one foul, then look back away, and you can drive that ball back up the middle or the other way.
That's what Todd just did. Here's the 2-2. And Todd gets a pitch he can handle, and he's going to have an RBI base hit. Here comes Tulowitzki strolling in.
I mean, that is exactly as you described. He hammers the pitch in. He gets something out over the plate he can handle. And Helton has RBI number 17. It's 3-0 Rockies.
It's just a beautiful swing from Todd, but it was set up by the previous swing, just fouling that one, yanking it foul. The pitcher's, I don't want to go back in there again. I've got to go away from him. Well, they go down and away, and he stays through the middle of the field. You can see Dustin Mosley's reaction, the leg kick from Helton, and just a gorgeous swing with the head down, the follow through, the extension, everything. And it's nice to kind of build on this inning, because you feel the excitement. You put some runs together, you put some hits together, and I can't remember the last time he scored 3 runs in 1 inning.
Yeah, it's been a while. Troy kind of grimaced as he was running to the plate. Now Scotty Garrett, the assistant trainer, and Troy just visited. Now they went down in the tunnel and are heading up, we assume, to the clubhouse. Wigginton takes ball 1.
Well, the other thing that could be happening too is there's a little area right by the dugout underneath where maybe he just needs to have his legs stretched out a little bit more. So the trainer will go down there, stretch out maybe a hamstring.
2-0 on Wigginton. Ty's great. You know, Ty's got some character to him. He's a terrific guy, and he is a baseball player's baseball player. And I said to him, surprised that you played both ends of the doubleheader in your first action back with the oblique yesterday. And he goes, I talked my way into that second game. They wanted me to get 2 games in. I figured I'd get them in 1 day and be ready to go today.
It was so funny to hear him talk about it, because I wasn't surprised to see him back today, but just asking him how he felt after that. He said, yeah, you shouldn't have cared, because it was 2 7-inning ball games. That's what they played on in the minor leagues, not 2 9s. He goes, man, they were long games, though.
They typically are in Colorado Springs. So Wigginton skies to short right, 2 outs, and that'll bring up Spilborns with Helton at first. By the way, Todd, with that base hit, has now hit 9 of 10 ball games that he's played in May. The Rockies, after a 17-win April, are just 2-8 thus far in May. It's been a rough go in the first inning for the Padres, evidently. In there, 1-1. You know, Tulowitzki with the 2-run single earlier in the inning. It's his first multi-RBI game in exactly 1 month. The last time he had 2 or more in a game was April 13th, when he had 3 in New York against the Mets.
Billy's going with the high pants today.
He is, isn't he?
It's the first time he's broken that out this year.
Did you play on some teams that you did not have the call on that?
No, sure. Especially early on in the career. It was a case where you had to show some stirrup.
Good to see Troy back in the dugout.
Later on, though, you could wear him up, you could wear him down, you could wear just about anything.
There's a line drive, base hit up the middle. I'll tell you who has to be really pleased with this, and you know where I'm going. Carney Lansford, because there have been 4 bullets right back up the middle. Guy's not trying to do too much with the baseball.
Something that he was preaching during spring training, something they did the first 13, 14 ball games and kind of gotten away from it. The leg kick, even though Ryan was out in front a little bit, he kept his hands back, and then just once again, I've said it 3 times so far, just stay through the middle of the field. That bat will stay in the zone that much longer.
Remember, they had 4 straight hits in the 7th inning. It looked like they were going to pull off one of those Coors Field rallies.
Two-run double from Smith, highlighting it. Got to within 7-5. Had an opportunity to tie it. Tulowitzki was up there, runners at first and third, and hit a drive to deep left center field. That's when the Mets outfield was playing with their backs against the wall. Rockies ended up losing 9-5, but it looks like they're building on what they did late in the ball game yesterday, stringing some offense together.
And the other thing too is Mosley's next pitch will be his 36th, which is a ton. No matter if it's the first inning, the fourth inning, to have that many. And Bud Black, the back end of his bullpen is very strong, one of the best in the game. So you want, if you're going to get to these guys, you make sure you get to them early.
Yeah, you want to stay away from names like Gregerson, Adams, and Bell. Not to disparage anybody else who's down in the bullpen, but those three you especially don't want to see called upon.
Well, their ERA, the bullpen ERA for the Padres is first in the National League.
Outside on Iannetta, it's 3-1. 2.04 ERA. The opposition hitting just .211. They average 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. The Padres pen a 1.42 ERA the last 27, so they've been even better than that. They have an 11 2/3 scoreless stretch going. That's a strike. That 2.04 actually leads the big leagues in terms of bullpens.
Just caught the corner of the Ford strike zone.
It's a good pitch.
It was. It's a 3-1 pitch as a hitter. You really don't want to swing at.
If Iannetta reaches, pointed this out before, De La Rosa enjoys hitting. He's no picnic up there.
Well, the other thing too, with the full count, you're going to have the runners take off.
Inside, and De La Rosa will hit here in the first with the bases loaded. And again, there can't be any further conversations between Balsley or Bud Black and Mosley without bringing a hook with him. No action yet in the Padres bullpen, but as Jeff pointed out, the next delivery is pitch number 39.
Shocking, but good for the Rockies that they were able to do this to kind of send a message early to the Padres.
There's a hard ground ball to third. Headley cut it off, and he'll get the force to Alberto Gonzalez. Great start for the Rockies. They hit around in the first, and Tulowitzki's 2 RBIs lead the charge. Coming up in the 6th inning tonight, as always, text Toyota followed by a space, and then your comments and questions to 720-720. You know, Brad Hopp's in the building tonight, not in the starting lineup against the left-hander De La Rosa. Got to visit with Brad on the pregame show tonight. He's one of my all-time favorite Rockies Huey, because not only was just a wonderful human being, first and foremost, and you talk about even keel across the board. You would not know whether he was 0 for 4 after a game or 4 for 4.
And no excuses.
Never.
That to me speaks volumes about the man's character. He does not make an excuse if he had a bad game. Hey, I had a bad game. There was nothing. The sun was in my eyes, or I slipped a little bit, or anything like that.
Not feeling well, never. And Brad's come on. He had a rough start. He was hitting below 100, but he's really put together a nice stretch.
His last 13 ball games, 340, 5 multi-hit games.
Cameron Maben takes ball 1. Brad, an all-star with the Rockies in 2009. Ended up with 42 doubles that year, 5th in the National League. Back in 07, he drove in 116 when the Rockies went to the World Series. 2-0 on Maben.
That's like he's old school, no batting gloves.
Yeah, how about
taped
this?
up. Vlad Guerrero does that still.
At the knees for a strike. Maben, one of the top prospects in the game for several years, 3-2. He's now on his 3rd organization. Started with Detroit as part of the Dontrelle Willis deal. Went to Florida, and glimpses, but certainly not enough. And then Florida needed some help bullpen wise, and they got a couple of relievers in trading him to San Diego. Here's the 2-2.
I think this is a great fit for Maben. Bud Black can really kind of put his arm around the kid and say, you're going to be my center fielder. I'll live with some of the ups and downs. You're going to be out there every day.
Originally the 10th overall pick in the 05 draft by Detroit. He's still just 23. Actually 20. He just turned 24. This ball's well hit to right center field, and Smith's going to run out of room. Cameron Maben has just hit his 4th home run of the year, and it's 3-1 Colorado.
Those kind of skills are hard to come by in a 24-year-old, and that's why he's been so sought after from some different clubs. A ball down and away from a very long swing generates a lot of power. There was no doubt when that one left the bat.
Ryan Ludwig at the plate. Curveball misses, ball 1.
Well, that's not surprising. The Padres are 2nd fewest in the National League in home runs. I'm a little surprised Houston is as low as they are with their ballpark. But Petco traditionally yields very few home runs.
Ryan Ludwig's 2 for 15 lifetime against De La Rosa. Both hits home runs.
I like what Chris did right there. You give up the home run, you fall behind 2-0. Let's go out there, have a little chat, calm them down a little bit, and refocus.
If you were grading out what Chris has done handling a pitching staff this year, it'd have to be A's right across the board.
The work he's done with everybody, including Jason Hamill, the steps that he's taken, the ability to throw out runners, 9 for 26, 34%, when the average is somewhere in the neighborhood of 25, 26%. Game calling. Back-to-back changeups after falling behind 2-0. Hitters thinking this is a fastball count.
Mark Foley was talking about it. He's always blocked balls well, and he said, he's taken a stride forward from where he was in that.
Confidence.
And the strikeout, and he went to the changeup again. That was like Trevor Hoffman-esque.
Why not?
To back to back.
If Ludwig's not going to make the adjustment, he thinks you're going to keep throwing fastballs, and you keep going to the same spot, keep going until the batter makes you change. Too many times I think pitchers sit there and go, well, 2 changeups in a row, he hasn't come close, I got to throw him a fastball. Well, why? Throw him another changeup, see if he swings at it.
1 out, Rob Johnson at the plate. Here's something else about Chris. He's the only National League catcher who's not made an error, who plays on a regular basis. Rockies leading 3-1. Top of 2. Is it just me or the Padres that they run through some catchers the last decade?
They haven't found one that they felt like they can be the guy for 5 or 6, 7 years.
There's a lot of organizations, I guess, like that. Johnson with Seattle the last several years. Talking to some people within the organization, you know, there's a guy they really miss. They miss Adrian Gonzalez, numero uno, obviously, but they miss Yorvik Torrealba.
Yeah, Yorvik signed a 2-year deal with the Texas Rangers. The leadership, we saw it here with Colorado.
And the Rockies
but it's
flirted.
across the board, though.
Yeah.
It's not just one organization, and you'll see it in the draft coming up in June. Some catchers will be taken just because it's a premium position.
Really hard to find two-way guys. As you hit and defend. 3-1, ball 4 on Johnson. Nick Hundley's their everyday catcher, but Nick is on the disabled list right now.
With a strained oblique.
With a strained oblique, and he's about halfway home on that DL stint, if you will.
Yeah, he hasn't started any sort of baseball activities yet, so he's at least, in my mind, for a catcher, 2 weeks away.
And he was swinging the bat well in April. Alberto Gonzalez at the plate. Yeah, that's inside. He's getting time right now with Orlando Hudson on the DL.
And he'll start against the left-handers. The right-handers will probably be Eric Patterson tomorrow. Yes, that is Corey Patterson's younger brother out of Georgia Tech.
Well, you had Corey when you were coaching in the Cubs organization, and Eric, didn't you?
Yeah.
Just looking at the breakdown right now. 31 pitches, 14 balls, 17 strikes. Not the ratio Jorge's looking for. He's been far more consistent throwing his changeup for strikes than his heater.
Yeah, 12 or 13 of the strikes have been the changeup variety. Only 4 or 5 fastballs that have been located have been strikes.
Well, the Rockies pitching staff, check this out, in May has allowed the opposition to hit just .227. You say, man, that's outstanding. Probably have 7, 8 wins, right? No, they're 2-8. One of the big reasons they haven't scored runs, but one of the reasons also is they've walked a ton of batters. They've walked 56 this month, the most in the National League. This could be 2. There's 1, and there's 2. 5-4-3. Wigginton got it started. Nice turn at the bag by Jonathan Herrera. Home run by Maven. It's a 3-1 ball game. In the second inning, time to check in with Alana Rizzo with tonight's Fast Cash Sideline Report, brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. No rain gear tonight.
I know, it's so nice. A glorious day at the yard. I'm extremely thankful. Just one layer tonight, guys. I want to talk a little bit more about Dustin Mosley. You know, he was picked up by San Diego as the flyer for $900,000, and he would have started the season in the bullpen had it not been the injury to Matt Latos, which landed him on the disabled list. Now, Mosley, 1-4 record so far this season, a respectable 2.47 ERA coming into the ballgame. You guys had already talked about the lack of run support for him, but what's different for him this season is the fact that he has moral support. And what I mean by that is this is the first year in his career where he hasn't felt like he's had somebody breathing down his neck, waiting for them to take his position in the starting rotation. He feels like the team has confidence in him. Granted, he didn't have the best first inning here against the Rockies, thankfully, for those Rockies fans out there, but he doesn't feel like a bad outing is going to land him back in the pen or in AAA, guys.
Well, it goes back to Bud Black, Alana, and you made a great point. He has the confidence because after a second outing in spring training, Bud Black came to him and said, whether it's a starter or in the bullpen, you are on this team. So the rest of the time, he said, it was like a big weight was lifted off my shoulder. They showed me the confidence, and from there, he just went out and pitched.
One out, Johnny Herrera at the plate. Johnny walked his first time up. You know, a lot of mentioned Matt Latos. Listening to the talk shows today, and everybody trying to figure out what the issue is with Ubaldo Jimenez. Another rough outing yesterday. Actually, I should say another rough outing because 2 starts ago in San Francisco, he really pitched well. Run on 2 hits. He did walk 5 batters, and yesterday he had no command again of the fastball. This ball is base hit to center field for Johnny Herrera. Matt Latos, who went 16 straight starts last year at one point, allowing 2 runs or less, is 0-5 with an ERA of 4.86. So, you know, you talk about other, big name pitchers, and I know Latos still a young guy, so is Jimenez for that matter, but Latos struggling also.
Remember Lincecum in August last year?
Didn't win a game.
Didn't win a game. And almost the same thing. His velocity's down. What's wrong? He's tired. He's this. He's that. Well, he came back pretty strong from that in September and October.
And that's obviously what everybody hopes happens with Ubaldo.
Sure.
This is the toughest stretch of Ubaldo's career. Even when he came up, 4 years ago, he never went through a period like this. He's a bright young man who will figure it out.
Go back to being more of a power pitcher and control that fastball.
We were kicking this around today on the radio a little bit. I was thinking about this also this morning. What if you go out and throw, predominantly, 85–90% heaters in your next start? Do you establish that he throws as hard as anybody in baseball.
Brad Penny does it all the time.
There's a shot by Gonzalez. That's going to be a gapper. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. Herrera will score easily. Cargo thinking about a triple. And guess what? He's going to have one standing up. Boy, that's good to see. The ball gets straight away. Gonzalez will come home, and the Rockies have a 5 spot up. That was a dart to right center field, his first triple of the year. And then on the error, Gonzalez trots home.
It's just nice to see Carlos hit a ball that was off the plate and keep the hands back enough where he can get the top spin on it to carry it all the way to the wall. He knew there was no trouble with the triple. He was going to make that, and then the wild throw. Kind of reminds me of that play earlier this year with Chris Iannetta against the Cubs, where he hit the triple, and then they threw the ball into the dugout, and he was able to score.
You call that a Little League home run. Tulowitzki had a 2-run single his first time. 1 ball and 1 strike on Troy. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. They're trying to do a couple things tonight. 3 things. Number 1, they're trying to win a baseball game. Number 2, trying to get tacos for everybody. Swung on and missed. And number 3, have it a double-digit hit effort for the first time since April 20th, and they're well on their way.
And maybe have a laugher along the way, where you're not biting your nails chewing on them because it's such a close game.
1-2, and that's a base hit for Troy. Hit number 7. And think about all the hits, folks. Everything has been between about a 60-foot area right in the middle of the baseball diamond.
Everything you're talking about. We'll go back to that relay throw from Jason Bartlett on the triple by Carlos Gonzalez. The throw from Maven comes in, misses the first guy, and he just airmailed that into the dugout.
Helton had an RBI base hit up the middle his first time. Didn't fire there. It's in there for a strike. Rockies have 6 singles and the triple by Cargo.
Remember in yesterday's broadcast, or maybe the day before, you asked, what do you like better? Yeah, of course you like the home runs because they're very sexy. But the solo one, just you hit it, you're excited, and then it's over. But how nice has it been to put 2 or 3 hits together, drive in some runs, have more traffic out there for the pitcher. He's got to throw out of the stretch again. Something that's just been lacking for the last 3 weeks.
And for what this club needs, this is exactly what the doctor would order.
Mindset.
Yep.
Get it back into your mind that this is what it takes.
Off the plate, 2-1. You could hear Dan Iasani say ball outside.
I like that as a hitter or as a coach down by the dugout to hear that, so there's no guessing.
So you're not yelling from the dugout, where was that?
Where was that? Because you're sitting down a little bit lower. Sometimes it's hard to tell. You can tell height, but not width.
It's kind of nice. Umpire says ball up.
Ball up, yes. Ball inside.
He's a good one, Dan Iasani. 3 balls and a strike. Tulowitzki stole a base in the first inning. In fact, Cargo also stole a base in the first inning.
Wow, that is a huge number of pitches. 1 out here in the second.
3-2. We assume Tulowitzki will be running here with 1 out. Yeah, and think about it, Huey. There's only been 1 walk. Actually, let me correct that. There's been 2 walks. Now action for the Padres. Devin Scribner. Yeah, so far it's made Bud Black wince a little bit. And a longtime pitching coach as well, Darren Balsley. There goes Tulo, and Todd just got a piece of it.
I'm trying to see if there's anything wrong with Troy after he'd gone down into the tunnel that first inning. Kind of jogging back, it looked like there might be something, but when he took off, he was running well.
In the air to center field. Maven started back, but it wasn't hit as well as he thought. He comes in, makes the catch, 2 outs. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. The error, by the way, that allowed Carlos Gonzalez to score, originally they gave it to the shortstop. It was not Bartlett who took the relay throw. It was Alberto Gonzalez. So it's an error on Gonzalez. Here's Wigginton with 2 outs.
Well, they do it a little bit differently with the stronger arm of Jason Bartlett. 9 times out of 10 will be the second baseman that goes out. The shortstop will be the trailer. But even with that ball in the right center field gap, the shortstop went out. The second baseman was the trailer. Let's hope this trend continues. This year the Rockies are 9-5 with Ty Wigginton in the lineup. Just 10-11 when he's not.
I can tell you this much, because the Rockies by and large have pitched so well. Their record when they score 4 runs in a game or more, was it, Doug, 14-2 going into the ball game yesterday, and then they scored 5 yesterday and lost. So 14-3. Doug's doing some quick math. I'm doing that off the top of my head, but it's a very good record. And Wigginton out front 1-2.
After that swing, if there was any question about his oblique, it was answered even just missing it on that pitch.
Yeah, it's, I was just going to ask you about that, and he kind of was way out front and really torqued that left side.
I don't think I've seen that before.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Wigginton trying to distract Rob Johnson, who clears himself to one side or the other to get a good look at first base. Look at Wigginton. Your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota moving forward. By AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By the Colorado Lottery, don't forget to play. And by Jack in the Box, get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled sandwich at participating restaurants. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. The Rockies have scored 5 times already. They have 7 hits. 5-1 they lead. Dustin Mosley will lead it off. And the first pitch misses, ball 1. There's 3 hits for Mosley, the first 3 hits of his career. Been an American League guy. He's gone between the rotation at different times with the Angels and last year at the Yankees, and working out of the bullpen.
And up and down.
And up and down.
The shuttle.
He's from Texarkana, Arkansas. Former #1 pick of the Cincinnati Reds. Smith with a long run, and Smitty will get there. 1 out, and De La Rosa will set his sights next on Chris Denorfia. In spring training, we asked Bob Apodaca about the maturation of De La Rosa.
He has come so far in the last 2-3 years as far as confidence in himself, confidence in his teammates, trust in his teammates, trust in his coaching staff, the ability to shake off a bad situation where he controls his emotions. These are huge inroads that Jorge has made.
And you can see it when you watch him on the mound, whether you're watching on television tonight, or if you're at the ballpark and Jorge's on the mound, when something doesn't go well, I mean, you could see a near meltdown in the past, and he handles it better. I mean, he's an emotional guy. It's not going to. That's not going to change. It's a good thing
if you channel it in the right way. Right. And he's understood now how to channel it to his advantage.
This is a high fly ball to deep left center field. Gonzalez starting back. Can he get there? Yes. How many left fielders make that play? And how many times have we said that this year?
You could see Jorge shaking his head because he thought that was at least a double, maybe a triple. And Carlos, the jump that he got on this ball made it look much easier than what this play is. He goes back, and now he starts to break it down a little bit because he's already caught up to the baseball.
He's such a fluid runner. Yeah, De La Rosa is pointing out he wasn't happy because that ball was hit 400 some odd feet, but it's an out.
But also, let's give credit to Jim Tracy by understanding that this ballpark with left center field, you need guys that have the speed in left field and center field here. So he's just said, Carlos, you're the left fielder now. You're going to play 81 games here at Coors Field. Go patrol it.
2-0 on Jason Bartlett. In there at 92. 2 balls and a strike. Padres won 90 games last year. They were not eliminated until the final game of the year, number 162 at AT&T Park, where Bud Black's team lost to the Giants. And of course, the Giants ended up winning the whole enchilada.
I know it was a question once they started the season. Well, how long can they stay there? It's going to be in April. Okay, then it's May, June. They said, no, we're taking it down to game 162. Everybody thought that the Padres would fold. They didn't have enough offense. I was one of them.
I got my hand raised right here.
I'll admit it.
I did not think they'd be able to sustain it. In the air to right field. Smith is there. And a 1-2-3 third inning for Jorge De La Rosa. Rockies leading 5-1 on their home court. That's what the big leaguers do, right, Huey? That's what you used to do to get ready.
Nothing wrong with hitting a wiffle ball.
Get the ball off the tee.
I just wish the fences were that close when I was hitting.
You're not alone. Brian Spilborgh's at the plate, takes ball 1 from Dustin Mosley, who's had a rough ride so far. Faced 9 in the first inning, gave up 3 runs. Faced 6 in the second inning, gave up 2 runs. Denorfia makes the catch. 1 out. That takes us to our Geico quote of the day. From our old friend Brad Hopp on his return to Coors Field. Hopefully I'll get a good reaction because I gave them everything I had for a long time. I had some good moments there, but I'm coming with the opposing team, so you never know. Well, I think most fans, and we won't know tonight, but tomorrow when Brad's in the lineup and he gets introduced and walks to the plate, I think and I hope everybody stands and applauds, because he was an 11th round pick out of LSU. He did everything right in a Rockies uniform. He had some big years and big moments in a Rockies uniform. And my favorite moment was against the Padres in that run of September of 2007 in the 14th inning, left on left off of Thatcher.
Joe Thatcher took him deep to left center field.
And Huey, I mean, the fog was in. I mean, it took a cannon to hit it out, and he hit it out to center field.
Well, and he was also an all-star in a Rockies uniform, too.
You bet. Stand and applaud. That's a terrific man who had a great run in Colorado. And Hopper to second. Inetta retired.
You buy a green pack for the May 15th and 16th ball game. $5 will go towards planting trees. $24 for the green packs. Get them at ColoradoRockies.com/green.
De La Rosa came up in the first inning with the bases loaded and hit a hard ground ball to third. Out front here. Jorge came in hitting .250 with a couple of RBIs. He told Aaron Cook, I'm repeating a story, but he told Aaron Cook recently, he said, "You're the only guy I'm worried about in terms of getting more hits than me this year."
I don't know. That's number 5 for Jorge.
So De La Rosa reaches, hit number 8 for the Rockies. And here comes Seth Smith. Smitty's 1 for 2.
De La Rosa hitting .278 now on the season, climbing towards that 300.
.278 would lead the Padres almost. I think I'm joking. The only guy hitting above .278 would be Denorfia.
He doesn't play all the time.
It's a good block by Rob Johnson. Kept it in the neighborhood.
Even with De La Rosa at first base, you still have to stay in good habits. Don't get lazy.
You know, Smith coming into this year, this may surprise you a little bit, had 189 at bats in the leadoff spot. And this is his 7th in the last couple of days. Filling in for Dexter Fowler there again. Dexter feeling much better today, and he pinch hit and got down to sac bunt yesterday. He's running better, took fly balls in the outfield. And I think he's going to be back in there tomorrow.
He said it felt much better today compared to yesterday, even when he had to lay down that bunt. Giving him a hard time. He said, if you had a good wheel underneath you, laid down that bunt, you would have got a base hit yesterday. He goes, I know.
Yeah, he kind of deadened it out there between the pitcher's mound and the third base line. 3-2, and a shot right back at Mosley, who caught it in self-preservation mode. That ends the inning. He's coming back at him at more than 100 miles an hour. 5-1 Rockies. For our AT&T trivia question. And tonight's question reads, Carlos Beltran hit 3 home runs yesterday. Who was the previous player to hit 3 home runs in a game at Coors Field? Huey? Don't answer it if you know.
I'm not going to. I'm going to let the fans do it.
All right, do you know the answer?
Not yet. I need to think about it.
See, Jim Armitrad always tries to, he's our director, and he tries to fool everybody. So he's giving you the long shot at Todd Helton. Now he's moving over to Tulowitzki, which means, for me at least, that you eliminate those 2 guys.
They're out.
They're out.
But I like the way he tries to trick you.
Well, because I know his game now. Jorge Cantu leading off against De La Rosa in the 4th. A single for Cantu, his first time up. Jorge from McAllen, Texas. That would be Jorge Cantu.
I got to go home of sorts last year. We went back and was with the Texas Rangers.
He grew up on a sprawling ranch that was right on the border. I believe he has dual citizenship between Mexico and the United States. Played high school baseball in the States. Swung on and missed, 1-2.
He's a guy that can play third base, first base, pinch hit, right-handed bat with some power.
Rockies very interested in him last year during the All-Star break. Around the All-Star break and trade deadline, 1-2. And this ball in the air off the end of the bat. Smith's been busy tonight. He has 3 of the last 4 putouts. Want to do favorite Brad Hopp moment? What do you think, Huey? Got a topic? Favorite Brad Hopp moment? Yeah, guy who hit 118 home runs in a Rockies uniform.
Came within a whisker of winning the MVP in that All-Star game.
Man, that catch by Carl Crawford.
It cost him.
Curveball in there for a strike to Chase Headley. He had a fly ball to Smith to end the first inning. Brad drove in 464 runs, 8th on the Rockies all-time list. And a base hit to right. Fifth in games played with the Rockies. 816 appearances for Hopp. Cameron Maben hit a home run to right center field in the 2nd inning, leading off. That's how the Padres are on the board. 5-1, the Rockies leading. They've out-hit San Diego 8-3. And that's a beautiful bunt. Here comes Wigginton, and he's not going to be able to get Maben. So the long and short of it, huh?
He hits one out to right center field. You're thinking, as a third baseman, well, he's not going to lay down a bunt here. He wants to try to go for a 2nd home run.
Do you know
Just
what?
executed perfectly, because all you have to do is get it by the pitcher with the third baseman playing back in double play depth.
This tells me that this young man's a thinker also.
Thought process.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego needs some traffic down 4 runs. You got a guy who doesn't give up a lot of hits in De La Rosa. I mean, Bud Black was singing his praises in the dugout prior to the ball game, how much respect he has for De La Rosa.
And try to chip away at it.
Ludwig at the plate. He struck out on a changeup. In fact, 3 of them in a row. He was ahead in the count 2-0. That's down. One of the things about De La Rosa, he is more of a fly ball pitcher than a ground ball pitcher. If you're sitting at home hoping for a ground ball double play, not to say it can't happen, but the ball's in the air more frequently with a guy like De La Rosa than, say, a guy like Ubaldo when Ubaldo's on his game.
Because he keeps the hitters off balance with the 94-mile-an-hour fastball, the sliders, the changeups that are down. It gets them out in front. When you're out in front, your bat drags through the zone, you'll hit the fly balls. And just to further your point, tonight there's only been 2 ground ball outs, 7 fly ball outs, 1 strikeout. With 2 strikeouts. Just looking back at my book, 2 strikeouts.
And Jorge will pile up the strikeouts. 1-1 as the slider was in there. Here's Dave Roberts in that picture at first base. We'll go back and show you Dave in a moment. Scribner's up again. It is great to see Dave on the first base coaching lines. A very long and solid big league career. He battled cancer a year ago. One of our favorite guys in baseball. I mean, he was always in a good mood. Good interview. There's a base hit that's going to drive in a run. So Ludwig makes it 5-2. 3 singles in a row. And that'll bring up Rob Johnson. But it's great to see Dave Roberts well again.
Well, not hit hard, but falling behind in the count 1-0. Left a ball that was inner half. Ludwig with the open stance, but gets back to a close position, drives in Headley and Maben first to third. Now a little bit of traffic out there for Jorge. Just shows you how important it is for not every pitcher, but especially Jorge, to work ahead in the count.
Got Maben at third. Ludwig at first. Pretty big sequence here. I mean, San Diego gets that run home. It's now a 2-run game again. I want to lead you to something here, Huey. It's 1-1 count. So important to keep the double play in order. And watch what Troy Tulowitzki does here on the deke.
Well, you act like you're catching it to keep that runner at first base from going to second base. But it only works if the outfielder makes a throw that looks like it's catchable. If he airmails one, it doesn't do you any good. So it was at 2 points here. Ryan Spilborghs with the throw, keeping it low enough head high, where Troy could then deke it and act like he was cutting it off to make a throw to keep that guy at first base. You still have the double play in order.
2-1. Pulled to third. Good pickup. There's one. And on the first, double play. That is huge. Rob Johnson on a bang-bang play at first called out. He's debating it with Dale Scott. And that means the run does not score. 5-2 Rockies. Scott at first. Good play by Johnny Herrera on a low throw, and I think he had a case. It looked like Johnson, Huey, just did beat that throw.
Yeah, we really had to slow it down, but Todd sold it to Dale Scott coming off the bag. I mean, this is how much we have to slow it down to see, and Bud Black did have a case.
Yeah, the Supermo, you could tell. I mean, the foot touchdown, just a smidgen
but
in
you
front of the baseball.
How slow we had to slow that down, and Dale's looking at it fast and speed, regular motion.
Dale can't do that?
Yeah, well, they can do it a lot of times, but that was difficult.
It's a big play. Keep a run off the board.
It was. Instead of 5-3, it's 5-2. But Jonathan got a tough feed from Ty Wigington, and he just made sure that he got that first one, and if he was able to turn it, all the better.
We just learned something that you and I know nothing about. Maybe you do. I know nothing about this, but Tavis Strand, who's producing tonight, told us that was slowed down, for all you camera buffs at home, to 540 frames per second.
That's a lot. I'm just going to go with a lot.
This is popped up down the left field line, and almost a great catch by Chase Headley. Let's check in quickly with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Guys, it's Youth Baseball Day at the Yard today, and I want to give some fans an update about a pitcher they may have been familiar with in terms of the Padres organization over in 2008 and 2009. Josh Geer made 22 starts with the Padres, and he's still in their AAA system in Tucson. However, he's back in his hometown of Forney, Texas. He's recovering from surgery he had 3 weeks ago to remove lymph nodes from his neck, the result of being diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. He'll turn 28 on June 2nd, and he, of course, can't say for certain what the future holds for him in terms of his health or where baseball fits into the equation. Too soon to tell so far from him, but he mentioned he was bored trying to keep involved with baseball, watched a lot of baseball games, but naturally wants to be on the field. We wish him well with his health, guys. That's Josh Geer.
Absolutely. That's strike 3 on Herrera. Josh had a lymph node removed, and they did not find cancer anywhere else, so he's going to have follow-up treatment for the next year. We wish him all the best.
Just one of those freak things too. He kind of felt it this winter, but kind of put it off. I'll have it checked when I get to spring training, and they were able to find it.
And the same goes for a Colorado native, Darryl Ackerfelds, one-time bullpen coach for the Padres. Colorado lottery replay. Last time up, a triple into the gap for Carlos Gonzalez, who would score on an errant throw by Alberto Gonzalez. Pitches down, 1-1. Don't throw away your non-winning scratch tickets. Replay every ticket in a second chance drawing at coloradolottery.com. Came in there, and it was too far in at 90. 2 balls and a strike.
Okay, so look away now. Here, Carlos, look for something away, because they're not coming back inside.
Front foot landed quietly.
Didn't jar the head. I mean, whenever you stomp on that front foot, your head and your eyes bob and move too much.
Got a pitch out over the plate there, found it straight back. 3-2 on Gonzalez with 1 out. This is in the air to shallow right. In fact, it'll be handled by Gonzalez. 2 outs.
Go back to that swing we were talking about a moment ago, Drew, and that softer landing, and the head did not move at all. He fouled the ball off, but the head stayed still. It's not like you're out there stomping on grapes trying to make some wine. It's like you're stepping on an egg.
Troy's 2 for 2 in the ball game. It's a breaking ball for a strike. That's terrific to see. He was 4 for his last 46 coming into the ball game. 2 for 2 and a couple of RBIs. Also has a stolen base. 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the 0-1. Troy hit just under 300 in April. May's been a different story. Part of the game.
Still early.
This ball driven high and deep left field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Home run number 10 for Tulowitzki. And the Rockies lead it 6-2. Three RBI night for the Rockies shortstop.
Troy got himself into a good count of breaking pitch that didn't break, stayed flat. Late kick and drive, and no doubt about it.
Todd Helton 1 for 2 an RBI single. Carney Lansford was saying before the ball game something a little different with Tulowitzki and Cargo today. He told them, hey, I don't want you to take any swings before the game. No BP. You don't need to hit a bucket of balls. He goes, just go up there, see it, hit it. All right. So we've done all we can do to just relax.
So they have 4 hits today.
Yeah.
Between the two of them. It reminds you of Little League a little bit, where you just show up and you go play the game.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that as a hitter to quit thinking so much. Quit thinking about your stance. Quit thinking about what I'm hitting in the month of May. How many reps do I need in the cage to get ready? Do I need 25 today? Is it 30? Is it 15? Grab a bat, some pine tar, put your batting gloves on, and go see the ball and hit it. Sometimes we make this game too difficult. We need to break it down a little bit.
On your stretches in your career where you swung the bat the best, if somebody asked you after what you were thinking, what would you say?
Nothing.
Exactly. I mean, every hitter says the same thing.
And what do they say when they're in a slump? Well, I'm not getting my foot down in time. My timing's off a little bit. My hands are dropping a little bit. My elbow.
Thinking about 80 things, right?
Yeah, at least. Maybe 100. And the last thing you're thinking about is seeing the ball and hitting it.
And Mosley strikes out Helton in the inning. The Rockies get a home run from Troy Tulowitzki. His 4th 3-hit game of the season. It's bomb number 10 for Tulo. Rockies 6 and the Padres 2 as we go to the 5th. AT&T trivia question. We asked you an inning ago, who was the last player prior to Carlos Beltran yesterday to hit 3 home runs in a game at Coors Field?
I know.
Dustin Pedroia. Is that who you had?
It was. Because I remember the very next day in San Francisco, he fouled the ball off his foot, broke his foot, and then did not play the rest of the year.
Helton was the last Rocky back in '03 against the Dodgers. So, I mean,
he single-handedly won that ball game for the Red Sox that night.
Remember when the Red Sox didn't have a win early this season? He single-handedly gave them a win, if you remember, offensively. He's a tremendous player. And he's a great lesson to all kids who aspire to play in the big leagues and are worried that they're not 6'4". Guess what?
That's the beauty of baseball.
It's the best. I mean, what's Pedroia, 5'8"?
With
on
his
a good
cleats
day?
on.
Yeah. MVP of the league a couple of years ago. Here's the 2-0 in there for a strike to Alberto Gonzalez. 2-1. Saw the Yankee Boston score there in the 8th inning. The Red Sox leading at the stadium 5-3. Earlier, the Cubs beat up Madison Bumgarner and the Giants 11-4. That snapped a 6-game winning streak for the Giants. So if the Rockies win this baseball game, they move back into a first-place tie with the Giants.
Watch part of that game today. Everything that the Cubs hit, found the holes, some bloops, some blasts, everything.
3-2. Starlin Castro, who's a cover boy now in Sports Illustrated. He was in the middle of things again. Darwin Barney had a good day for the Cubs. And Ryan Dempster, who's really not had a good year so far, punched out 11 in 6 innings. Here's the 3-2 on Gonzalez. And he missed. Another walk. It's 3 walks. Oh, I'm counting wrong. I'm sorry. It's 2 walks allowed by De La Rosa. And the evening will be done for Mosley as Logan Forsythe will pinch hit. Forsythe with 5 big league at bats, looking for his first big league hit.
2 of those at bats have come as a pinch hitter. This is his 3rd.
Bud Black's played too many games in this ballpark as you look at his starting pitcher Dustin Mosley. And down by 4 runs in the 5th inning. He's not going to play for 1 run here.
Padres just hitting 195 as a team pinch hitting wise.
This ball's well struck, but it's right at Carter. That's the first out of the 5th inning, and now Kristen Orfie will come up. Your old friend John Kruk saying, "Take me out to the ball game at Wrigley today."
I would have liked to see that one. I missed that one.
Evidently, he sung it well. Oh, Kruko. Never mind, not John Kruk. Mike Kruko, the Giants. I don't know Mike could sing.
I didn't either.
What I understand, Mike plays the banjo well, so he can sing too. The multi-talented Mike Kruko.
I have to ask him about it next time we see him, and we'll see him on Monday. Giants are coming in after the 3-game set in Chicago.
I got to throw Dougie under the bus here because we're always throwing compliments his way.
Right.
He hands me a little note. He says Kruk. Well, he meant Kruk, you know, he's using the nickname, but he writes K-R-U-K. What does that spell?
John Kruk.
Okay, would you not think John Kruk?
Yes, I would.
Okay, sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Not
Kruk,
Kruko.
who works for ESPN, he gets, you know, he travels some, and gets to ballparks on occasion when he's not in the studio. Outside. This is Kruk, K-R-U-K, saying "Take me out to the ball game." As soon as I say that, Dougie rips the paper away and he adds an O-W.
Whoops.
Put Dougie in timeout. 2-0. Fouled off. 2-1. Quest high-speed pitch. De La Rosa 95, Mosley 92. It's brought to you by the new Quest 5-year price lock promise. Visit quest.com/promise for details. Slowly hit to Tulowitzki. He's got to go to first.
Nice transfer on the ball in the glove between Troy and getting Denorfia. We've seen Troy come and get the ball. This time he takes two hands to the ball because he knows Denorfia is getting down the line, and then sidearm throw right on the money to Todd. And speaking of Todd fans, the first 10,000 of you through the gates on May 28th will receive a Todd Helton t-shirt courtesy of King Soopers. First pitch that night is at 5:10. Game against the St. Louis Cardinals. First time we'll see the Cardinals this year.
Just be leery if Dougie hands you a note that says Todd saying take me out to the ball game at Wrigley. Just clarify which Todd it is.
Which Todd?
Okay. Here's Bartlett at the plate. 0-1. Strikeout and a fly ball to right. Oh, 0-2.
Hard slider. Bartlett almost had to jump to get out of the way once he started swinging.
.62 Colorado. Bartlett has played with the Twins and Tampa. Was originally selected by the Padres back in 2001 as a 13th round pick. And he's come full circle. He's back with San Diego. Here's the 0-2, and this is lobbed into right field for a base hit, and another run's going to score. Gonzalez comes around at 6-3. So Bartlett behind in the count, 0-2, with a little inside-out swing. Gets a huge 2-out RBI to keep the Padres in contact with the Rockies.
This swing reminds me a little bit of Mark Loretta. Loretta used to be able to take a pitch that was down and in and hit it to right field as well as anybody, and Mark's a special assistant with the San Diego Padres these days. Kind of goes back to that leadoff walk, though. Leadoff walk to the number 8 place hitter. He comes around to score.
Strike on the corner on Cantu. Padres have been swinging the bat much better lately. 13 runs on Wednesday. 23 hits, which is the most in the big leagues this year. Only been another 20-hit performance, actually. And with that ball in the dirt, moving on up is Bartlett. Good read of the dirt ball. Saw the angle of the pitch, and he took off immediately. And now if Cantu throws out a base hit, you're talking about a 2-run game.
Smart base running, and they get a lot of this base running from Dave Roberts, who we talked about earlier tonight, but they are first in the National League in stolen bases with 40 and third in Major League Baseball, but that's just a heads up. It wasn't a stolen base, but read the angle of the ball down in the dirt and keep going.
Swung on and missed. Foul tip held by Iannetta. De La Rosa needed a punch out there. He got it on a slider. In the inning, there was a run on a Bartlett base hit at 6-3, middle of 5. About the Rockies on offense. They had a high efficiency first inning. They hit around, 3 runs, 4 hits. Stayed in the middle of the field. Todd Helton had an RBI base hit. Saw Tulowitzki's 2-run single. Brought to you by Excel Energy. Learn about energy efficiency and how to save energy and money in your home by visiting responsiblebynature.com. New pitcher for the Padres. It'll be Evan Scribner.
Evans, their long guy out of the bullpen, originally signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks back in 07, the 28th round. Came over to the Padres in the Tony Clark trade. Not an overpowering guy. Fastball, curveball. Spent the last couple years at Double-A San Antonio.
One strike on Wigginton, who's 0 for 2 in his return from the disabled list. Spent the minimum amount of time on the DL, 15 days. Curveball for a strike. That's pretty much what you're going to see. Fastball, curveball.
It's a slow curveball. 68 miles an hour on that last one. And he's a guy that you could sit curveball on and adjust to the fastball.
And that's what happened there, perhaps, is that curveball is drilled to the gap, and it's going to run to the warning track. A double for Wigginton. He stayed back nicely on that.
Yeah, he was sitting on it. A veteran guy like Ty Wigginton, you've thrown me a couple. I've seen it enough now that you're not going to beat me with the 88-mile-an-hour curveball or fastball. I'll sit on the curveball, and that's what he did.
Take some guts to do that with 2 strikes?
Not with a guy like Scribner, who's not overpowering. If he's sitting below 90, I can do it. If he's above 90, no, I can't.
Spielborg's 1 for 2. Ryan will try to, at the very least, move Wigginton to third base here in a 3-run game. That double gives the Rockies 10 hits in a game for the first time since April 20th. The bunt is a beauty. That's a good play all the way around, made better obviously by the fact that it's a single because you were going to move the runner up. So Ryan Spilborghs with a bunt single. First and third for Chris Iannetta, nobody out.
I love this play because it's a win-win for everybody. You get it down, you get the base hit. Worst case scenario, if they happen to throw you out, the guy's at third base, you get the sacrifice and you have a guy in scoring position. But you couldn't have rolled it out there any better during batting practice. If he had the opportunity to just throw it out there, he couldn't have done it any better than what he did during the game.
Chris Iannetta 0 for 1. He walked in the first inning. Naturally, he walks every game at least once, it seems like. 5 home runs, 13 driven in. And that's down low. Iannetta now with 21 walks, second on the club to Dexter Fowler, who's walked 23 times.
Big gap in left center field.
Enormous gap.
I'm just thinking with a guy like Scribner, who is not, throws a big curveball, not overpowering with the fastball, why Maben would be playing so far to the opposite way with Chris up.
That's a swinging bunt. Now Wigginton won't move. Going to second is Spilborghs. And at second and third, one out for De La Rosa.
Well, now the Padres can play this differently. They had conceded the double play and the run with nobody out, but with the pitcher up, you can play halfway.
This is toward Bartlett, and he's going to come home with it, and he's not going to get Wigginton. He was on the move, and the throw is in the dirt toward the first base side, and Wigginton scores the Rockies' 7th run. We've got tacos.
That's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm shocked Bartlett went home on this ball because it wasn't hit hard. He had to go far to his left, and to make the off-balance throw against your body over the head of the pitcher, just too many things could go wrong, and it did. He went right for the Rockies. But you'll take it.
Fielder's choice RBI for De La Rosa. That's Jorge's 3rd of the year.
And as a staff for the Rockies, they only have 4, so De La Rosa has 3/4 of them.
Smith takes a strike on the outside corner. It's been since April 20th that we could tell you that we've got tacos. Fans, don't forget to go to your participating Colorado Taco Bell locations tomorrow between 4 and 6 and get your Rockies taco special. Base hit. And here comes Spilborghs with run number 8. Smith's got a 2-hit night, and it's RBI number 17 for the Rockies right fielder. Gets a slap on the back from Glenn Allen Hill.
This is the offense that we've been waiting for.
Thank you.
But Seth pulls this ball into the hole. We've seen everything. We've seen triples. We've seen balls into the left center field gap for doubles. We've seen bunts. We've seen home runs. Driving in runs with less than 2 outs with the runner at third base.
Johnny Herrera takes the curveball for a strike. It's a whole lot prettier to watch, isn't it?
It was just agonizing before. For the fans, for the players, for the coaches, everybody.
And there's a base hit for Johnny. De La Rosa will move up 90 feet. And the bases are loaded for number 5.
Jonathan just hits the ball where it's pitched. Curveball stays back. Doesn't hit it hard. But the ball was away from him. The same place that he had put the ball before with the breaking pitch. You just can't go to the same area against major league hitters and be successful.
We like to say, here's Johnny. Well, here's Johnny's buddy, Cargo. Bases loaded in an 8-3 ball game. Chance to blow the lid off it. 1 out. De La Rosa at third, Smith at second, Herrera at first, and that's down low, ball 1.
Just don't get too anxious.
1 for 3, a triple. RBI, 2 runs scored tonight for Gonzalez. Two and out.
This is, you sit here as a hitter and try to really take a deep breath, relax a little bit, realize the pitcher's in trouble. I've got a chance if I just take a controlled swing.
And there's a line drive to left field, and De La Rosa did not tag. And again, he's a pitcher, so a little different scenario. That ball was hit right on the button. Ludwig fired it back in. I think anybody else, that would have been the 9th run for the Rockies.
It's just too bad for Carlos. There's just a base running gap by the pitcher. He's upset. He understands that he had a chance to get an RBI, sacrifice fly, no at bat.
Tulowitzki with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Time for the Coors Light freeze cam. Last time up for Troy. Dropped the barrel on an inside sinker and hit it a long way to left. His 10th home run of the year. That's brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. De La Rosa, it's automatic. You got a tag on that. He wandered down the line. 2-0.
You're taught, go back to the bag. If he catches it, you trot home. If it falls in, you trot home. The one thing you can't do is get halfway off there.
You know, Cargo's upset, but the good news is he stayed patient. He didn't get over anxious. He got a pitch to hit, and he hit it hard.
And that's a positive you have to take out of it.
Tulo drives one to left field. Ludwig is going to get over and make the catch. So the Rockies leave them loaded. They do score twice in the 5th inning. And they lead it 8-3 through 5. E470. Sign up for Express Toll and start paying 20% less on E470 tolls. 3-game set with the Padres, and the Giants are here Monday and Tuesday, and then another 2-game set in Philadelphia. That Friday's not Philadelphia. The Rockies will move to Milwaukee. They'll play 3 in Milwaukee. So it's 2 in Philly and 3 in Milwaukee. And the Rockies, you know, because they have that unbalanced American League schedule, interleague schedule, will actually go to Milwaukee twice this year. 8-3 Colorado, 6th inning. Chase Headley will lead it off against Jorge De La Rosa. And this is our Toyota Talk inning. And again, one of the questions we posed to you today to comment on is your favorite Brad Hopp moment through the years. Brad not in the lineup tonight. He will be over the weekend. Now with the Padres, playing first base. Finished last year with Tampa after departing the Rockies. On the ground, big hop for Wigginton. Gathers his feet, and that's 1 out.
I just knew that Wiggy would get a lot of action tonight. Coming off the DL.
Somebody wrote, great to see Wiggy back. You bet.
Friday the 13th. They're wearing black. It doesn't matter.
Friday the 13th for me.
It's the only time it's going to happen this year.
Is it the only time?
I believe 3 times next year.
I have my superstitions. Friday the 13th is not one of them. Brad Hopp is a champ. He's the man. Good curveball. Missed the Hop arm. My favorite moment was when he was with the Rockies. Huh? I lost that train of thought after that. Started to read it. Didn't get the end of it.
I smell tacos too.
Maben takes inside. It's 2-1. All right, my favorite Hop moment. He and Atkins, Garrett Atkins, signed a ball for me. Colorado Springs when they played for the Sky Sox. That's a strike.
It is fantastic to see the bats come alive.
Brad. I'm not shaving until we get tacos. It happened already. You can shave. It's Tim shopping at Costco. Slowly hit, and you know, you may be wondering, why did Wigginton play a ball that's still got some velocity on it with his bare hand? That had everything to do with who was running
and where it was hit. Right down the line. You don't have the time to get around and transfer. The rule of thumb is if it is hopping, you use your glove. If it's rolling, you can use your bare hand. It was his only option to try to come in and barehand it. He looks it in, just hit, wasn't able to close the fingers on it before he could get the grip on it.
3-hit night for Maben, a home run, bunt single, now an infield hit. 1 out. Maben at first, Ryan Ludwig up. And a pull for the Pods when they don't play the Rocks.
He did have a strong arm from right.
I seen Brad in that All-Star game. And he hit the ball over the fence. So unfortunately, Carl Crawford went and got it. Would have been the difference in that game at Yankee Stadium. What a memory for Brad. And Brad always available to fans. Here's the 2-0. And a ground ball. It's got eyes. It's going to get through the left side for Ludwig. Got to check. This may be the most hits that Jorge's given up in a ball game this year. It's 8 hits for San Diego. And it is the most. Prior to this, he'd given up 7 in a start at Arizona on May 3rd.
Neither ball was hit hard in this inning. He had the chopper down the third base line. That one was a seeing eye ground ball. Matt Reynolds, because of the pitch count getting up there just a little bit for De La Rosa. He's up and throwing.
Beginning of a busy schedule for the Rockies. Yesterday, as we know, was supposed to be an off day. Wednesday turned out to be because of the rain out with the Mets. But now the Rockies are in the midst of a stretch where there's not an off day in sight.
Until the 23rd, but then remember on the 24th, that's a day-night doubleheader too. So you're going to need 2 starters that day. And then their next day, off day after that's not until June 2nd.
Rob Johnson, a walk and a 5-4-3 controversial double play. Take a less controversial 5-4-3 right here. Changeup's over, strike 1. Johnson working for the Seattle Mariners until this year. That's his evil twin.
That was a good one.
Seth Smith, among many, came over to say hello to Brad before the ball game. I said, "What's going on with that?" He said, "Hey, I was hitting 080 a few weeks ago."
If you continue to hit, you keep it. Fowler should make a quick recovery.
Good change up again. It's not just, you know, his arm speed is identical to his fastball, but the movement down in the zone that he gets typically with that changeup.
The other thing is he hides the baseball very well, so you don't pick up that changeup until it's out of his hand, and by that time it's too late. That's why you see the wild swings. When that arm drops down behind the leg and he brings the leg up, you still have not picked up where the ball is coming from.
Got it again. He's one of the few guys I can think of. Trevor Hoffman always comes to mind. Trevor's now retired, the former great, most of his career Padre. Finished up with the Brewers, but that changeup, you can double and triple up on. Hoffman did it. De La Rosa does it.
But you don't see the ball till right now. Right as soon as it comes up and gets up into that window, and the whole time you're standing in the box saying, "Where's it coming from?" There it is. It's too late.
Another 1-2. Now it's a fastball. De La Rosa throws typically anywhere from 92 to 95, occasionally even above that. Jeff, when you're at the plate and a guy has a really slow and deliberate windup and can throw as hard as De La Rosa, is that hard to get your timing?
Yes, because you're taught when the pitcher goes back, you start to go back.
And the ball in the dirt, and everybody's going to move up. San Diego staying aggressive. Now the double play is no longer in order. And a base hit makes it 8-5. Padres trying to stay in this baseball game. 1 out.
Chris buries his head, but then when he goes to throw off the mask, the ball gets right almost into the feet and out in front of Rob Johnson, and Chris lost sight of it because of that. He wouldn't have been able to get Maben at third with his speed. Now you just have to go for the strikeout. Just go ahead and punch him out. 7th place hitters just 1 for 20 off De La Rosa this year.
And a ground ball is going to get a run home. Tulowitzki will throw out Johnson. It's 8-4. 3rd RBI this year for Rob Johnson. But that's a ball, if there's still runners at first and second, in all likelihood it's a double play.
But that's the difference in that wild pitch from De La Rosa a moment ago.
Well, Brad Hopp's putting on a hat, and I don't think that's for cosmetic reasons. So Brad's going to the on-deck circle.
They do not have any more right-handed hitters on their bench. They already used Forsythe, and he was the only one coming into the game.
I mean, the two big guys they have on their bench would be Brad, obviously, and Will Venable. Here's the 0-1, and it's a fly ball to shallow left. This is a long run for Tulo, and Cargo can't get it. It's a fair ball. It's now 8-5. Alberto Gonzalez with a pop fly double.
Just out in no man's land. Troy ran a country mile to get this, as did Carlos. Right off the edge of Carlos's glove. And it did hit in fair territory.
The first time he's laid out this year where he didn't catch a baseball. I mean, he had to run about a 60-yard dash to get in the neighborhood. Somebody with a Brad Hopp jersey. Very polite applause as Brad was introduced. And again, Hopp's been swinging the bat well after a very rough start. Brad's hit safely in 11 of his last 13, 340 average, 5 home runs and 5 doubles and a home run since April 25th. One ball and 1 strike. Brad's playing the position now defensively that he played in college at LSU, playing first base. And he played in the minor leagues too a little bit.
Big shoes to fill though in Adrian Gonzalez.
That's Chad Qualls.
Matt Belisle has now joined Matt Reynolds on the Rockies bullpen.
The last pitch was number 100.
Other than the 3rd inning for De La Rosa, he's had traffic out in every inning.
Three and 1. Chris Denorfia on deck, top of the order.
If he walks Hop, I wouldn't be surprised if Jim went and got Matt Belisle to face Denorfia right on right.
He just did. And that may be what we see now. That was not even close. First and second, 2 outs. That's the check if from Bob Apodaca to make sure both guys are ready.
You might see somebody go to the mound just to try to stall for a moment.
No movement from anybody on the field. No movement from the dugout. Yeah, now Ionetta's going out. And it's a slow walk, which means
he's just buying an extra couple pitches.
Jorge De La Rosa knows what this is all about. It's strange how things go. Earlier in the inning, you're thinking that he has a chance, if he has a relatively efficient inning, to go out there for the 7th, and now he's trying to survive the 6th. Here comes Jim Tracy. It's 8-5 Colorado. They're 2 on. And Tracy's going to ask the bullpen now to get 10 outs this evening. And interesting, that he's going to bring in the left-hander, Matt Reynolds, not Matt Belisle. Got a right-handed bat in Denorfia, a right-handed bat on deck in Bartlett. 8-5, back in a moment. A new episode with Jim Tracy. Cargo just shot a new commercial. We've got all the behind-the-scenes action. We find out what the player's favorite baseball movie of all time is. Rockies Weekly Sunday with Jim Tracy right after the ball game against the Padres. So Matt Reynolds is summoned with Chris Denorfia coming up. Now righties are just 1 for 10, trying to think along with Jim Tracy against Matt Reynolds. Perhaps if he went to Belisle, Will Venable would pinch hit and swap out with Denorfia. Here's a curveball for a strike.
But then I flip it over. I look at Denorfia's numbers against left-handed pitching. He's 11 for 26.
Tearing him up.
Yeah.
I guarantee you this.
He has a reason for it.
Jim Tracy has a very sound reason for doing it. We'll find out after the ball game. Here's the 0-1 outside. 1-1. And that's what Jeff's talking about. Denorfia with great numbers against lefties. 2 on, 8-5 Colorado. And this should get the job done. Spielberg's the ball hit a little deeper than I thought off the bat. Runs it down on the warning track in right center field. 8-5, Rockies lead, middle of 6. inning. That's a blast. Home run number 10 for Troy. Rockies enjoying an 8-5 lead. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Bottom of the 6th inning. Todd Helton will lead off for the Rockies. And let's check in with Alana Rizzo. Hey, Alana.
Hey, guys, we haven't done this for a while. How about we get Adam from Aurora involved in the Predict the Outcome? All right, we have Todd Helton, Ty Wigginton, and Ryan Spilborghs coming up. Adam, I need to know what you think those 3 batters are going to do.
Todd Helton, home run.
Okay, hit.
Ty, triple.
Okay, hit.
Double.
All right, hit, hit, hit. We'll check back with Adam after the first 3 batters,
Hold
guys.
on, you're underselling him.
Hit,
Alana, it wasn't hit. It was
hit,
bomb, triple,
well, I mean,
double.
Okay, extra base hits. Many extra base hits. We like that, but I don't want to take all the time up here. I want to see what these guys actually do. At least he wasn't like out, strike out, fly out.
What's his name again?
Adam from Aurora.
Okay, Adam's the ultimate optimist.
That's right.
Wiggy hadn't had a triple since he was 12.
That's right.
Unless Todd can go around the bases, which he has a chance. Todd thinking about for a moment. I mean, it ran through his brain a triple for a second. That's a hit. Adam's 1 for 1. Atta baby, Adam. Second hit of the night for Helton.
A 9th double for Todd Helton on the season. Todd's swing from last year to this year is just dramatically different. Staying taller through the ball, getting more backspin on it. 2 for 8 in his career off of Chad Qualls.
And Helton safe at second. Safe and secure. New York life. Here's Wigginton. Wiggy's got to throw a triple out there, right? Well, he threw a double in his last at bat. All right, Dougie, when was Wigginton's last triple?
Are you going to trust him?
Yeah, he's back in our good graces.
Okay.
Helton has moved 2 ahead of Lou Gehrig. More Hall of Famers, just surrounded by Hall of Famers on that doubles list.
Dave Winfield, former Padre.
Yeah, he's still a Padre executive. Wigginton trying to inside out that baseball and move Helton up. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. It's Wigginton's double curveball, and Jeff Houston said it looked like he was sitting on it. Stroked it to left center field. Don't throw away your non-winning scratch tickets. Replay every ticket in the second chance drawing at coloradolottery.com. 2 balls and a strike. The veteran Chad Qualls on the mound. And nice job by Wigginton. Interesting. Alberto Gonzalez, knowing that Helton doesn't run exceptionally well, he charged that baseball, and for a second he looked at third and then got the out.
Get the out. Now you play the infield in.
I have to apologize to Wigginton. It wasn't all that long ago. July 23rd last year, Wigginton, with the Baltimore Orioles, threw out a triple. He has 12 in his career. He had 6 with the Mets back in '03.
That was when he was a youngster, had fresh legs.
When he wore younger man's shoes. Chance for an RBI for Spilborghs. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Infield in, pitches in, ball 1. Well, you had to love these situations, Huey, didn't you?
You just look for a ball that's up. Think about hitting it to the right center field gap. If you're Ryan Spilborghs, if it's something slower, you can pull it into the left center field gap.
Stays patient there, 2-0.
Look away, react in. 3 for 7 with a home run in his career against Chad Qualls.
And a diving stop made, and safe at first, safe at home. Bartlett trapped it. Helton wasn't going initially, and then when the ball kind of got underneath his body, he took off for the plate. Bartlett tried to get the out at first. Rockies have their 9th run. It's an RBI for Spilborghs.
The difference is with the infield in, range isn't as good. 3rd hit on the night for Ryan. Bartlett dove and just couldn't find the handle, and Ryan running hard down the line gets the infield single and an RBI. And a little help from Ty Wigington to move that runner over to 3rd base.
You know, of late, 5 hits was a big night for the Rockies offense. They have 15 tonight and 9 runs.
What I like about this too is the way they've answered every time the Padres have put a run up. In the 2nd inning, Padres put a run, Rockies got 2. The 4th they answered, 5th they answered, and here in the 6th they've answered.
There goes Spilborghs. This ball's driven right, and this is going to turn into a double play.
Nothing you can do.
Nope. Well, quickly before we go to break, check in Alana Rizzo with Adam.
Yeah, he did a good job. He predicted 3 straight extra base hits, but Todd Helton got the double. You know, Wiggy moves the runner over. Spilly gets the RBI single. Nicely done. I'm sure you'll take that outcome.
I absolutely will.
All right, thanks for your time. We appreciate it, guys. Back upstairs.
9-5 Colorado. Nice job, Adam. Todd helped. So Todd must have done something while running the bases. There's no other reason he would be pulled out. It's not a lopsided enough score that Jim Tracy would pull him out. So we'll try to get an update when one is available. Here's Helton scoring. And, you know, after he crossed, he
pulled up a little bit.
Pulled up a little bit. Looks okay there, and then he's kind of
a calf, it kind of looks like, or
well, you know, he's still getting high fives. You haven't grabbed anything yet. You always, with Todd, naturally worry about the lower back area. Matt Belisle's in the ball game to pitch. And he's got strike 1 on Jason Bartlett. 9-5 Colorado in the 7th. 2-strike count.
18th game now for Matt Belisle. Ties him with Matt Lindstrom.
Club leading appearances.
Yep.
0-2 on the former Sooner, Bartlett.
Nice crowd tonight.
Yeah, really nice crowd. Top of 7, and that pitch is in. 2-2. How about this? 40,278 in the house.
It is a good crowd.
Great crowd. 2-2 is a little flare to Johnny Herrera. Bartlett retired. That'll bring up Jorge Cantu. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. Curveball. Chop foul. Jorge De La Rosa, not as sharp as we're used to seeing him, but he's on the plus side tonight. He goes 5 2/3. He gives up 5 runs, 9 hits. He walked 3 and he struck out just 3.
102 pitches is 59 for strikes. You win. Check it.
You know, it's funny. One of the common themes when we talk about the Rocky starters, we talk about outstanding stuff naturally. And they have a very good ERA so far this year, giving the Rockies a chance to win virtually every game. Here's the 1-2. Obviously, the one who's struggling more than any others, the Rockies' ace, Ubaldo Jimenez. But we keep coming back to this theme of fastball command. De La Rosa didn't have it tonight. Swung on a miss. Belial strikes out Cantu. Jimenez has struggled mightily with that. Chacin battles that. The one guy that is able to control his fastball consistently, and he did it last year, really did it the year before, is Jason Hamill.
And that's why his numbers are better this year and able to go deeper into the ball game, going to the 7th inning a little bit more. Fastball sets up everything else. And we can't stress that enough to young kids. Learn to command the fastball. Don't worry about your changeups, your curveballs, whatever else you have in your arsenal, knuckleball. It all starts with the fastball command. Can you work it to both sides of the plate? Can you pitch up? Can you move it back down? Take a little off, sink it, do all those things with your fastball, and then everything else falls into place.
We were discussing this earlier that everybody's got a theory. We might as well have one, right?
Yeah.
With Ubaldo, maybe in his next game throw predominantly fastballs.
And even if they're 4-seamers, it's okay. 95, 96 mile an hour, 4-seam fastballs, still hard to hit.
Yeah. Maybe that'll get his mechanics back in line, get his confidence back in line. He's clearly been shaken. If you listen to his post-game comments, he said, I feel like a finesse pitcher now. He's searching. 3-0 is outside, ball 4. So Chase Headley with 2 outs, walks. And that'll bring up Cameron Maben, who's 3 for 3.
We talked about the San Francisco Giants in town, the May 16th, be at Coors Field, and you can win prizes courtesy of the Colorado Lottery as they promote their new bonus millionaire raffle.
Strike on Maben, a home run to right center field. His first time up, a bunt single, and then an infield hit. He kind of chopped a slow roller to third. Two-strike count on Maben. Maben out of North Carolina, born in Asheville.
Used to be a bat boy for the Tourists.
No swing. I'm thinking, Joe Mikulic's been there for a decade. He wasn't a bat boy when Joe was working there, was he? He may have been.
May have been. I do know that he was a bat boy for the Tourist.
Got a better paying job.
Just a little bit.
2-2.
He gets to carry his own bat up to home plate.
And this is in the air to deep right field. Smith going back, and it is gone. It skipped off the top of the scoreboard. Second home run of the night for Maben. The Padres will not go away. It's 9-7. This is a ball game circa 1999 at Coors Field. Maben's 4 for 4, 3 RBIs. It's the first time in his career he's hit 2 in a game. Both to the opposite field, Jeff.
And this one is even more impressive than the other one. The other one to right center field, he got a little bit more extension. This one he had to pull his hands in and stay through it to hit it over off the auxiliary scoreboard. Pretty close. Seth did the right thing, stop in case it hit that wall and drop back down.
Ryan Ludwig at the plate. He's the only other Padre with a multi-home run game this year. 1-1. Yeah, the Rockies have broken out the bats tonight. 9 runs, 15 hits. Jorge De La Rosa, again by his standards, a somewhat off night. They've now given up 7 runs on 10 hits. It's part of what happens during a baseball season. When things are going well, everything seems to be working. You're playing great defense. The starter gives you 6-7 good innings. The pen shuts you down. You're getting 6-7 runs from your offense. There's a strikeout. And when things aren't going well, one area does well, but then the other area doesn't. You get the picture. 9-7 though. The Rockies leading. Well, in the first inning, the Rockies hit around. Troy Tulowitzki had a 2-run single to get the Rockies going. They'd end up with 3 runs in that first inning. Second inning, Carlos Gonzalez lines a triple. It scored his buddy Johnny Herrera, and then on an overthrow by Alberto Gonzalez, Lugo trotted home. Rockies had 5 in the first 2 innings. Troy Tulowitzki again. A home run, his 10th of the year to left field. Only home run for the Rockies tonight. Tony Lexus look back. Tony Lexus where luxury has an address. And Lopez deep in the hole. And Bartlett's throw will get him by 2 strides. Lopez's first at bat. He came on last inning defensively at third base. Wigginton moved to first for Todd Helton, who hadn't come out of the ball game. We're not sure as to why just yet. So Lopez retired by Qualls, 1 out. And Seth Smith, who's hit the ball hard 3 times in this game. He's got 2 singles and RBI. And let's not forget the line drive that almost decapitated Dustin Mosley back in the 3rd inning.
Mosley's not going to forget about that one. He might wake up in the middle of the night and still have dreams about that.
Smith 2 for 6 lifetime against Qualls, former Arizona Diamondback.
Now with the game at a 9-7, 8th inning guy Rafael Betancourt has to start firing out in the bullpen. So who would have thought coming into this game, with the offenses hitting in the 230s, that it would be a 9-7 ball game and 25 hits?
Well, I mean, maybe you make the argument that the Padres got hot, 36 hits the last 2 ball games coming in. They've been swinging it. The Rockies looked like they were breaking out a little bit yesterday. Smith went. 2 outs. But I understand your point. Bring up Johnny Herrera. Johnny's reached 3 times tonight, 2 hits and a walk. Johnny trying to get that average back over 300. He's at 294. This free play brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. The knocks tonight for Johnny Herrera. Back to center field. Line shot. And in opposite field. We see him do that frequently. 0-2. Don't throw away your non-winning scratch tickets. Replay every ticket in a second chance drawing at ColoradoLottery.com.
You're only going to get either a fastball or slider from Qualls.
That was the slider, 1-2.
Nothing tricky. He just tries to rely on mixing those 2 pitches and keeping it down into the zone.
Qualls, a Los Angeles area kid. Went to the University of Nevada, Reno. Began his career with Houston. Originally a 2nd round pick in 2000 by the Astros. That's interesting.
Is it Arizona that tried to make him the closer?
Yes. Yeah. And he saved 24 ball games in 09 with Arizona. This is chopped to Bartlett. A 1-2-3 7th inning. That's the first time tonight the Rockies have been retired in order. It's a 2-run game. the Rockies got off to a fast start. 5 runs in the first couple of innings. But as you see on the top line, San Diego keeps scoring. 4 straight innings they have scored. Cameron Maben's been their hitting star. He's 4 for 4 with a pair of home runs, 3 RBIs. But the Rockies lead it as they hand the baseball to Rafael Betancourt in the top of the 8th. It's 9-7. Todd Helton was still awaiting word as to why he had to leave in the 6th inning after scoring a run. Kiss me, Chulo. It's my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Go Rockies. Chulo not a bad night himself with 3 hits, including a home run, 3 RBIs. But Rafael Betancourt looking for his 11th hold. Right now he has 10, which leads Major League Baseball.
I just got word. Left calf tightness. You called it. And well, I hate hearing that. You know, any back of the leg injury can really be debilitating. I know if you've never pulled a calf muscle or strained a calf muscle, you have no idea. I mean, it can linger. And
I mean, when you start to think that you're feeling good, you go out and run again, and it just pops and creeps right back up.
There's the 1-0 on Rob Johnson, 1-1.
Pretty much guarantee that Todd will not be in the lineup tomorrow with the quick turnaround day game. Reminder, folks, that tomorrow is a 1:10 first pitch right here in 12:30 pregame. Well, he doesn't have that extra time. It would normally be a 6 o'clock game.
1-2, good heated at 93. You hope, again, naturally, that it would be one of those mild, really mild deals. Felt it a little bit, and it wasn't a complete pull.
But you could just see that last couple steps, the gingerness of that stride.
Todd tonight, a couple more hits, single and a double, 2 for 4 and an RBI. The Rockies' steadiest offensive performer.
But on the plus side, it might give Jason Giambi the opportunity to go out and get 3 or 4 at bats to kind of get him back on track. Because all he's had is a lot of pinch hit appearances lately.
Going to reach the seats. Windshield damage, call Safelite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com.
Giambi fan. Stay in.
Yeah. Wigginton's not going to have a play.
Trying to use body English to keep it in.
Outside, 2-2.
Fastball away is what Betancourt throws 90% of the time.
Johnson battling away. It's a typical, if it was shooting practice, target practice, that's a very typical arrangement for Betancourt. He's going to work on the outer third of the plate.
That's what's made him so successful as an 8th inning reliever.
That's where Iannetta goes again. And this ball is playable for Wigginton. As is often the case, a long battle won by Rafael Betancourt. That's one out. That'll bring up Alberto Gonzalez. I love Wigginton's approach. You know, he's got the first base glove on now. He had the third baseman's glove on earlier. We've seen him in the outfield this year. Played a lot of second base during spring training. When he's been asked about it, he said, you know, I just go to that spot and I catch the ball when it's hit to me.
Pretty simple approach.
Don't think about it.
Don't. As long as you're playing.
This is a high fly ball to deep left field. Gonzalez got a great jump, and he's going to run this one down also. 2 outs.
They join the Rockies on May 29th, the game against the Cardinals for Military Appreciation Day. Arrive early for the celebration. Sunday, May 29th. Game against the Cardinals.
Well, the Princeton grad, Will Venable, starts most of the time in right field. Against the lefty, he was kept out. He'll pinch hit here with 2 outs in the 8th inning.
Don't let that big body fool you. He has good speed.
Yeah, he can really run. He's a great basketball player at Princeton.
Chris Young, what used to be with the Padres, now with the Mets, and bad shoulder.
Yeah, shoulder surgery.
Yeah, it might be the end of his career. Let's hope not. You never know. Another Princeton basketball player.
Here's the 1-1 on Venable. Fouled off 1 and 2. It's 2 players who've been all Ivy League in baseball and basketball, and you just named it. 2 players at Princeton, I should say. Just missed. 2-2. Get a little more on Will Venable from Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Well, guys, his brother Winston was a linebacker at Boise State. Didn't get drafted to go to the NFL, but he's going to try to make it to the National Football League if there is football as a free agent. Now, they have a very close relationship. He lived with Will this spring to try to train to get ready for the NFL. Of course, you know, very competitive guys. They support each other on and off the field, both different types of fields, if you will. And, of course, their father was a former Major League outfielder in Max Venable. So a very talented, athletically inclined family, but Winston Venable trying to go pro in the NFL while his brother is pro here in the major leagues, guys.
Yeah, Winston actually is safety at Boise State, and his dad Max, until this year, was a hitting coach at Portland for the San Diego Padres. Moved around the Padres system. That misses 3 and 2. What Will was saying earlier, his dad hanging out at home this summer, taking the year off.
Be kind of a neat experience. So to play or coach your son in minor league baseball, can help him along the trials and tribulations.
Well, those who have seen Boise State the last couple of years, you know, great program. His brother will hit you now.
You're coming across the middle thinking you're getting a free pass.
And a base hit for Will Venable here with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Krista Norfia coming up. Rockies in the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll have Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and then the pitcher spot. Pitcher spot's now the 5-hole.
All the likelihood that'll be Giambi. Venable does have 10 stolen bases, so you can't fall asleep on him. Only been caught twice with Betancourt's high leg kick. But Black might elect to send Venable on one of the first 2 pitches. Dave Roberts letting him know the signs and times. Dave Roberts in his career was an 80% base stealer. Stole 243 bases in his career.
Line drive. Oh, catch by Johnny Herrera. You talk about timing. Johnny timed that perfectly. He may have snatched a double from Krista Norfia. 9-7, middle of 8. Johnny Herrera. This ball looks like it's ticketed for right center field. Johnny reaches up and gloves it.
I think you described it right as he timed it perfectly. If he jumps too soon, ball's over his head. He used all 11.5 inches of that glove.
Will Venable stays in the ball game. He's in right field. Krista Norfia comes out. The pitcher spot's now the leadoff spot. And now the Rockies will try to add on Ernesto Frieri. He's not allowed a run over his last 5 ball games. Will face Carlos Gonzalez.
A lot of fastballs from Frieri. Kind of a slinger. Reminds me of Julian Tavares. The way the arm comes out and kind of goes behind a little bit and then it just appears.
2-0. Cargo tonight reached on a fielder's choice in the first, stole a base and scored. He tripled in a run in the second and then would score. Ground ball to, or excuse me, a flare to second and a line shot to left field. 3-0, in which he would have had an RBI. The bases were loaded. De La Rosa was at third, and De La Rosa forgot to tag up on a ball that was well hit to left, and he came back to the bag and couldn't move up at that point. It was the 3-0 and a 4-pitch walk. Cargo's been collecting those walks the last couple of days. He walked 3 times in the ball game yesterday. So the Rockies, with a precarious 2-run lead, the way the Padres have swung the bat tonight, get the leadoff man on here in the bottom of the 8th, and Troy Tulowitzki, who's got 3 hits tonight, 4 trips, including a home run. He's got 3 RBIs. Big night for Troy. 22 driven in now. That leads the Rockies. Let's see if Cargo looks to swipe a bag also. Frieri off the first base side of the rubber, and they pitch out.
I would look to run now. But Black in charge of that running game. Pitch out. Guys don't like to go back-to-back pitch outs.
Dexter Fowler's on deck. That's a strike.
Kind of depending on what happens. Dexter could go up there and bunt if you have guys at first and second. Jason Giambi, I'm sure, is waiting in the wings underneath.
There's Giambi. So he's running. He's doing around the 100 meters too.
He's gonna hop up those steps, come out like Superman.
1-1. There goes Cargo, and the throw's not going to get it. 6 for 6 this year, and Frieri was exceptionally slow to the plate on that particular delivery.
Yeah, 1-7-2. That's pretty slow. High leg kick. Troy was trying to shoot the ball to the right side. Wasn't even close. Looks like it might have been a hit and run because Carlos peeked back to the bag, or excuse me, to the plate to see if contact was going to be made. Yankees 6 for 13 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Tulowitzki strikes out. 1 out, and that'll bring up Fowler. So Dexter will pinch hit for Betancourt.
Dexter has really grown this year with runners in scoring position, come up with a lot of key hits in 364.
And this ball's looped to left. This could be a hit. It will be. Cargo got a good read. He comes to the plate. He'll score. Fowler moves to second. Ball gets away. Dexter thought about moving to third. Rockies have their 10th run on a bloop single to left by Fowler's 13th RBI. That's a big, big run.
Just try to tack on the way the Padres have been staying into this ball game. Dexter got jammed a little bit on it, on the swing, tried to pull it in, but the ball went right off the label Ludwig tried to act like he was going to catch it by putting his glove up. Dexter goes to second.
Now Ty Wigginton, a chance for the Rockies to add another on. A single, an RBI. Fowler moves to second on the throw. It's Dexter's 500th at bat at Coors Field. That's a milestone. He's going to have plenty more. 17 hit night for the Rockies. Up and in on Wigginton. It's 1-1. Ty a double in 4 trips in his first game back, just off the disabled list. I know the Sky Sox ate well yesterday.
Well, that's the rule of thumb. Whenever a big leaguer goes down on a rehab assignment, he has to pay for the post-game meal. You always like to see those guys come down selfishly so you could eat better.
I bet.
So it usually involves some sort of steak.
It was. I asked Ty.
Was it?
Yeah.
We think Outback, maybe?
He didn't specify. He just said they ate steak.
Yep.
Three and one on Wigginton. This ball hard on the ground, short. Fowler, one of the few guys that could cross over on a play like that.
But that wasn't an easy play for Jason Bartlett. The way the ball was hit, Dexter's legs and everything going, he really screened Bartlett off on that ball, and it almost ate him up.
Spilborghs with 2 outs. A reminder coming up on the Toyota postgame show. Toyota talk throughout the postgame show. Rockies have a 10th spot on the board for the first time since April 20th when they beat Matt Cain and the Giants 10-2 to salvage 1 out of 3. The only ball game they've beaten the Giants this year. They're going to have to turn that around the rest of the way.
Giants 14-7 in the National League West.
High fly ball to deep left center field. Going back, Ludwig still going back, and he drops the baseball. Spilborgh's on his way to third, safe there. Fowler scores. It's 11-7. Ludwig had a long way to run. He got there right in front of the wall, and the ball popped out of his glove. It's a 3-base error.
Probably took his eye off the ball. Going back this far, you start to wonder, where is that wall? Where is that wall? Let's see if he did take his eyes off it. He was worried about the wall before he got the baseball.
Netta fouls it off.
Second error by the Padres tonight. Both times has led to Rockies runs.
0-2 count on Iannetta.
That's one guy that's not going to complain about a couple extra runs in Houston Street.
Here's the 1-2. And it's fouled off. Here's what we were talking about a moment ago. So far inside the division, Giants are 10-5 at home. The Rockies right now 8-8 at home. That's got to change. I mean, they won 52 games at home last year.
That's a balk.
That is a balk. Ball never left his hand. And here comes the Rockies' 12th run. Spilborghs. Well, it did leave his hand. It dropped behind him. That was odd. But Black saying, you know what? This thing's getting ugly.
It's just plain old slip out of his hand. Don't see this very often, but it was even before he started to come forward. Didn't hit his leg. I've seen it on humid nights. It's about 100 degrees and 60% humidity.
And this is a towering pop-up left side. Baldwin waiting, and he makes the catch. Rockies end up with 3 runs in the inning. 1 scored on a Fowler hit, 1 scored on an error, 1 scored on a balk. Mountain Coal Mining Institute, promoting Western coal through education. Visit rmcmi.org. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats, and no blackout dates. More than 40,000 in attendance. The Rockies have a season-high 12 runs, a season-high 16 hits tonight. They lead at 12-7, looking for 3 more outs. And the rule of thumb is if your closer gets up, he's coming in. So even with a 5-run lead, Houston Street will throw this 9th inning. And let's check in with Tom Helmer for what's to come after the ball game. Hey, Tom.
Drew, you said it, a season high in runs and hits. So there it is. The offense we've been looking for has shown up. We'll break it down. Also center of attention. Ryan Spilborgh's done a great job filling in center field for Dexter Fowler. We'll talk about his performance as well. And, of course, get you down into the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the Toyota postgame show. And as you said, keep the Toyota talk coming. It'll be running throughout the show. Drew?
Hey, Tom, is that your Florida Gator tie?
You know, actually, somebody asked me earlier if I was rushing a fraternity in the SEC. I was kind of going with a preppy look today. It felt like spring.
It's a new tie, though, right, Tom?
It is a new tie. The wife picked it out.
Very nice.
So I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
Mindy did a marvelous job.
I'm wearing it with pride.
There you go.
There you go.
Well done. You'll get you'll be able to have the door unlocked when you come home. See you, Tom. We'll check in with you in a little bit. Toyota Talk will continue also in the post-game show with Tom and the gang afterward. Dexter Fowler, that's a great indication that he's feeling better. He's out there defensively now in center field.
Yeah, and be in the ball game tomorrow as a starter.
Houston Street misses ball 1. This will be the 19th appearance for Houston. (12 of 13 in saves. This again is not a save opportunity. Good movement on that fastball. 1-1. Here's that graphic that was put together by our great staff earlier. You see that the Rockies haven't gotten going yet at home. They hold on here. They'll be 9 and 8 at home. This will be the first out. Cargo's got it. But the key part of that graphic, Jeff, it's got to turn around. If it is ultimately the Rockies and Giants, the Giants are already 14-7 inside the division. They're 4-1, or excuse me, 5-1 against the Rockies, and the Rockies just 5-8 in the West.
Yeah, they just went 6-0 as well. The Giants did at home against the West and the Rockies and the D-backs, and that's why their home record is what it is. But inside the division, you have to play well to make sure that you stay there at the end of the year.
You know, the team they've played best against, at least of late, inside the division, are the Padres. They win at Petco Park, and last year they won 12 of 18 ball games against San Diego. And it looks like they're going to win game 1 this year. Jorge Cantu with the 1-1 count.
Just when you play teams within your divisions that many times, the margin of error, because you know each other so well, is very small. It just comes back to the fundamentals of baseball. Who pitches a little bit better, who gets the key hits.
Iannetta and Lopez, and no play. You know what's fascinating for me, and you played for 10+ years, played for a number of teams in the big leagues. You know, we're very close naturally to the National League West, as you're discussing. It seems like a ton of guys play for multiple teams inside the NL West. You know, we saw Chad Qualls earlier. You know, Brad Hops now played for a couple of different teams inside the National League West.
Just kind of move around a little bit, but stay here, because the other teams understand how valuable they are, because they get to watch them so often. It's not just a scout putting in a recommendation about a guy. It's the manager saying, well, if this guy becomes available, let's grab it.
It must be, because there's a lot of guys that end up matriculating with other clubs.
The scouts will come in and see 5 ball games. A National League scout, he'll come in and he's rating the Rockies. He'll come in and see the 5 games, maybe even 10 games. But the opposing manager sees 18 games.
Sure. Well, it makes sense. Yeah, and there's been a number of guys who play like for 3 different teams. Some guys for Steve Finley seemed like played for everybody in the division. One and two on Cantu. A single back in the first. Fly ball to right. A couple of strikeouts since then. Three for 7 against Street in his career.
Tomorrow the Rockies will get Aaron Harang, former Cincinnati Red.
He's off to a good start. He's 5-2. Chacin will go for the Rockies. He's 4-2 with a 2.68 ERA. Matt Latos and Jason Hamill on Sunday. Hamill will be going for his 4th victory. You got a no decision in a ball game. He threw 7 shutout innings a couple starts ago. Two and two. All right, we've got to replay this. Gentleman in red wants this ball very badly.
Ow.
Hey, you know, listen, if they can lay out on the field, I can lay out on cement,
stairs,
hard plastic chairs. To right field and deep. Smith leaps and makes the catch. Nice play by Seth Smith. He looked like the guy in red out there.
Just didn't have to lay out quite as much.
Right.
Just had to stretch a little bit higher.
They both got the baseball, right?
That's right. But Seth had to use his glove. We've seen Seth make some plays that don't question his range. Going back up against the wall, that time timing his leap perfectly.
Chase Headley, 1 for 3 and a walk. And the product from Fountain Fort Carson.
0 for 3 in his career against Houston.
0-1 count. The slider misses, 1-1. Again, the Giants lost to the Cubs. Cubs snapped the Giants' 6-game winning streak. The Rockies can move back into a first-place tie with one more out. Spent 37 straight days in first place, second longest stretch ever in the history of the Rockies organization. They spent 42 days in the summer of 1995 in first place. Of course, went to the playoffs that year for the first time as a wild card. Here's the 1-2, and this will do it. Houston will go underhand to Ty Wigginton, and the Rockies win it 12-7 over the Padres. Good way to start the weekend. The bats broke out a season high 16 hits, season high 12 runs. Not the best outing for Jorge De La Rosa, but guess what? He's now a 5-game winner. He's 5-1, which is tied for the top mark in the National League. Mosley takes the loss. He's 1-5. 12-7 the final. Today's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. Troy Tulowitzki got it going with a 2-run single in the first, and then he played long ball, something he does very, very well. Hit this one into the left field seats, his 10th of the year. 3-hit, 3 RBI night for the Rockies all-star shortstop. Rockies again over the Padres tonight, 12-7. Colorado now 20-16. Stick around. The Toyota postgame shows up next.